Primary 5 students, nice to see all of you. This is Mr. Yok, and today we are going to do a guided writing exercise to write a recipe. Do you know what is a recipe? Let's move on and take a look. To start with, let's take a look on what we will learn. First, we'll learn sequence words. First, next, after that, then, and finally, to talk about the steps. Then we will learn about some vocabularies, including action verbs for cooking and other vocabularies related to cooking. And finally, we will learn how to write a recipe. So what is a recipe? Take a look on the photos on the left-hand side. So you see, it's about how to make the dish pasta with bacon and tomato sauce. So it is an instructions to tell you the way to make the food pasta with bacon and tomato sauce. It includes different kinds of information. What kinds of information should we include in a recipe? So to write a recipe, you should include at least 3 information below. First, the name of the dish, pasta with bacon and tomato sauce, as you can see on the top, and then the ingredients. It means the food you need to make the dish. Apart from the food you need, you may have to include the amount of different food, like 1 red onion, 120 grams of bacon, 1 cup water, and etc. You may need to add some seasoning as well, like olive oil, garlic, etc. And then after you write the ingredients, you should include the steps and method. It is about the way to make the food, and then you should indicate them with the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we will talk about that in details later, and an example will be shown to you. In about 2 weeks ago, you should have learned about the action verbs for cooking on your own. So let's start to have some revision, which is on page 5 of your textbook. So the first one is bake. It means you put the cake into the oven. The second one is fry. You usually need to put some oil to fry the eggs or other meats. Number 3, to chop. To cut the food into smaller pieces. Number 4, to pour, you take out the milk and then you put that into the bowl. Number 5, add. You add the seasoning, for example, the sugar or the salt into the mixture of something. And finally, beat. For example, when you beat the egg, you actually use a spoon to mix the egg mixture to make it yellow. So if you are interested to learn more words for the cooking instructions, here we have more. The first one, peeled, is to cut the skin of the fruit. And then stuff. What is stuff? It means to cut, for example, a chicken, and then you put some meat or some other kinds of ingredients inside the chicken. So that is called stuff, to make the inside food. And then this one is mix. You use the mixer to mix the food to actually make it taste better. And this one is to crush. You use the force to make the food to break into even smaller pieces. and finally cheese. You rolled the food or, for example, the flour in the table to mix it into different shapes. So, something more. So, the first one, boil, is to cook by putting the food, like the spaghetti, the noodles, into the hot boiling water. Roast, can you see the tasty chicken on the left hand side? It means to cook the food in an oven or over a fire. And steam, can you see the fish on the right hand side? It means to cook the food using the steam of the hot water. So, before you steam the fish, you need to boil the water until it becomes hot. And after that, you put the fish on top of the hot water to make it cooked. So, the other things that I would like to talk about is the sequence words. So, when do we use the sequence words? When you tell the steps, which one to do first, which one comes next, and then what is the last step. Instead of using the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we also use sequence words. So number 1, we use first, and then the steps in the middle. We can use then, after that, or next. And the very, very last step, we can use finally and lastly. So, you may see the recipe of making a cup of tea. So, number 1, we use the sequence words first. And then, the step in the middle, number 2, 3, and 4, we used next, then, and after. They mean the same, and they are interchangeable. And the last step, we use finally. So pay attention that the sequence words should be placed at the beginning of the sentence. So now, Mr. Yook is going to show you my example. So, by looking at the photos, can you guess what kind of food did Mr. Yook make? Yes, some of you are very clever. That is mango pudding. So, as you can see, there are some words, there are the hints. In the first pictures, you can see peeled, mango, and then you will know that, you may need to cut the mango and then to take out the skin, and then after that you cut into the pieces. And then you mix the jelly powder with the water, and you mix it with the mixer, and finally we add milk and put in the fridge for a few hours. That is the steps on how to make the mango pudding. Have you ever made the tasty mango pudding before? So how should we write a recipe? So here comes an example. On the top, we should say the name of the dish. That is the mango pudding. And then the first part, we should tell the ingredients. That means what kind of food that we need. Like 2 mangoes, a box of jelly powder, and a cup of milk. And afterwards, we should talk about the steps. So remember to use the action verbs at the beginning of each sentence. And then we also need to use the cooking instructions words. Like, first, peel the skin of the mango. After that, cut the mango into small pieces. Then, mix the jelly powder with water for 3 minutes. Next, add the milk into the big bowl. Finally, put it into the fridge for 2 hours. So, can you notice that I have highlighted for 3 minutes, for 2 hours in red words? That means time is also very important. For example, if we did not mix the jelly powder with water enough, that may be very bad taste, that may not be tasty enough. And if we just put the mixture of the mango pudding for just like 30 minutes, for 1 hour, maybe that is still water instead of the pudding. So you should indicate the time clearly so that the food can be cooked in a good condition. So now it is your turn to try to write a recipe. Your task is to write a recipe for the snack or the food you want to make for the school fair. So pay attention to the following. So first, you should download the file on the next page. Write a recipe of the cookies using the pictures and the words given to you as hints. Do your writing on a paper and upload the file. You should write on your own. You should not just type the words in the forum. So, just try to write your own recipe. So that's all for the lessons of this week. See you next week. So if you need to learn more, you may refer to Unit 1 of your textbook to see how to write a recipe as well as other vocabularies about cookings and the sequence words. See you!